arrive. But for those of you that are not familiar with us, thank you for coming today. Um, I see a few familiar faces and a few new faces on here today. So hopefully you guys are, if you have any questions, just let us know. But if you guys are, if you'd like to go ahead and get started, it is 7 o'clock. Um, Try to be as efficient as possible when it comes to time. I know everybody's probably either just getting home, getting dinner started and everything. So hopefully this meeting is goes as quickly as possible for all of us tonight. But if you have any questions at all during the presentation, there is a QR code here that you can scan and enter your questions in there as we go through our presentation and our meeting this evening, or you can drop them in the chat. Either way, either works, and we'll get back to you as soon as we can, whether it is in the meeting itself. If it is in the chat, we'll try to get to that question during the meeting. But if it is on that QR code in the top left corner, my tour consultant and myself will respond to you here in the next couple days. But thank you all again for coming today. I'm really excited about this trip, mainly because it's been about a decade since I last went to this destination with students. So I'm really excited for you guys to hear about this travel opportunity. And of course, again, go ahead and scan that QR code at the top left corner if you would like to ask any questions or have any questions throughout the presentation itself. But my name is Cheribel Damasco Farrington, and I am ITRT at William Byrd High School, and I have been with William Byrd High School, specifically in Roanoke County, for 22 years. I have been teaching for 24. Started out my teaching career in upstate New York and Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area. And I was a Spanish teacher then, and I kind of took a few years of break teaching Spanish as I concentrated on being IT, but I kind of missed teaching Spanish. So when COVID hit and they started offering Spanish classes to students, I kind of jumped on the opportunity and I said, I want to teach Spanish again. So I'm now the online academy for Roanoke County Spanish instructor for all three levels online this year. I also sponsored the junior class at William Byrd, where we plan activity throughout the year, such as homecoming and as well as prom. And then, of course, you see an episode for Terrier TV every single week, probably not this week since we've been out on snow days. And I also co-sponsored the International Club at William Byrd High School. That was also something that I did before I became ITRT, and I picked it back up again when I started teaching Spanish again, because it made more sense again to sponsor the club. My daughter graduated from William Byrd High School 2 years ago in May 2024, and she also traveled with me on a couple of the EF trips that I have taken abroad. And by nights and weekends, I am a Zumba instructor as well as the Waju City chairperson for Roanoke Valley Sister Cities. And I have been traveling with EF since 2016. So basically, whenever I get the chance to travel, I kind of jump on it and try to explore as much as possible. But with the way my schedule works, it's a little bit more difficult to go exploring locally because I'm usually doing something here locally for either school, Zumba, or Roanoke Valley Sister Cities, etc. So, but here are some of the pictures that we've taken so far in 3 different destinations. So the one in the middle is actually my very first trip, and this one is actually in Barcelona, Spain, in the Puerto Olímpico in Barcelona. This is my very first group of students. As you guys can see, there are a lot more students than adults on this trip. And then the next one here on the right was our trip to the UK, and we had taken the extension to Paris. So there are about 22 of us that ended up going to Paris. And then our Barcelona trip was my very first trip, but I think I had about 16. Our biggest trip so far in the past decade was our trip to Japan, where we had a full bus of about 45, 46 teacher, adults and students as well. And that trip actually combined different groups and families from all around the Roanoke Valley. So we had students from Cave Spring, we had students from Lord Botetourt, we had one from Jefferson Forest, and of course we had students from Franklin County and William Byrd High School as well. So that one was a very mixed group of people, and that was probably one of our most memorable ones, actually. Apart from our first one, my first one was memorable enough that I said, okay, let's do this again. And each of these students, the majority of them still do keep in contact. And it's nice seeing them, and a lot of them have actually been traveling. They've continued to travel and explore the world because they were so much more confident about traveling on their own and navigating airports in different countries on their own as well. So when it comes to teaching, the main purpose of the first time I took on this trip was mainly because Morgan, she's in the back row. She's like, Miss D, we need to take a field trip to Spain. It's like I didn't even plan my very first trip abroad with students. She actually planned it for me. She picked our destinations and where we were going. It started out with Spain, but then she kept looking through the EF catalog and said, oh, this one has Italy. We should go to Italy too. And then a couple weeks later, she comes back and she tells me, because she's Greek, she's part Greek, she's like, I found the perfect trip. It was going to be her senior trip anyway. And she said, I am Greek. I've always wanted to go to Greece and explore my heritage just a little bit. So she found Greece, Italy, and Spain. And that's how we came up with our very first trip. Morgan did one of her dream trips, and it's like her freshman year after graduating, she did a study abroad, and she was in the Netherlands. She did Copenhagen, Germany, it's like Sweden, all of those countries, Amsterdam, and and she was able to do it on her own. And her parents, who have never been out of the country, felt comfortable enough also to allow her and they felt comfortable enough for her to actually go and study abroad on her own. And the same thing with Reagan. Reagan's first year, she actually spent her very first semester at college abroad in London. So when we went to the UK, we actually met Reagan in Camden Yards in London, England, while we were there. So we were only there for like maybe 2, 3 days, and we were able to spend an afternoon and grab a bite to eat with her while we were there. So that's probably one of the biggest motivations for me as a teacher, and share the love of travel and discovery of not just different cultures and languages, but of themselves, and growing the independence a little bit when it comes to travel, and knowing okay, I could do this on my own. So it's always great to see the light bulb pop up above their heads. It's like I can navigate the tube on my own. And that's pretty much what they did on one afternoon that we had free in London. We had kids pretty much anywhere where there was a subway stop, a metro stop. There were kids in different places. Some of them were in a museum, others were at the London Eye, some were other in Camden Yards. They were exploring the city and navigating the London Tube. And if you can navigate the London Tube on your own, well, they weren't on their own, they were in groups of students. You can pretty much navigate any public transportation in the world, because London Tube is one of the more complicated subway systems in the world itself. So, but for me, that is one of the reasons why I like to travel, and just being able to see them grow from the day that we leave Roanoke to the day we come back, and just see the growth in that. I've been traveling since I was 7, since I was born in the Philippines, and we have traveled up and down the East Coast, lived in Mexico for 4 years, so it was just one of those things that I myself kind of took for granted, because it was just kind of thrown on me, and I was like, this is what we're doing. I had no choice, so I just went along with it. But now it's like I look back on that time and I think to myself, I was like, those were great experiences. I look back on it and I have different stories and different things to correlate different, like the different things that I encountered all throughout life. So it helps them, it helps prepare them for futures of independence and being able to say and troubleshoot all those different things as they come upon them. And that's one of the biggest things about the travel is that you're teaching not just culture and language, but you're teaching them how to navigate and troubleshoot things that come upon them in real life and you're having to do it as you're going along on a trip as well. So, journeys that travel with them for the rest of their lives. 94% of EF travelers say the tour expanded their knowledge of the world because they were able to see things that they've only seen in textbooks or movies or in those TikTok reels and Instagram reels that they're watching on their phones. 84% felt the tour helped them grow as a person. And when I say help them grow as a person, they were able to be more independent. They were able to find the solutions to the problems the travel based learning that they had was like they were able to troubleshoot all of those things on the fly as they are navigating a city with a group or in by themselves. And 84% felt inspired by their tour. Um, One of the students on our trip from the UK, she ended up, she navigated the Louvre for an entire afternoon. It was like, she's like, can I just stay here and explore just a little bit more? And I said, okay. I was like, we will meet you right here at this time. And it's like, did you leave by the time we actually met up with her again, we asked her, did you go anywhere else? She goes, no, this place is massive. I went up these stairs and down these stairs and I went everywhere. She took art classes when she went to college and she is actually a design mate. Like she is in the design field right now. And that one of the things that she said to me that inspired her was being able to actually visit the Louvre and see all those works of art from different masters from all across the different times. So not only do they begin to understand more about the world around them, they also begin to understand more about themselves and the impact that they can make. This allows them to grow in ways that will positively impact their future and perhaps even just lead them to their choice of career, you know? So it's like we have so many different things that it can like a trip can inspire in one way or another. So for our specific trip, we are going to Portugal and Spain. And the great thing about this itinerary is there's an excursion that I've already included. Um, it's not just Portugal and Spain, but as you guys can see, we'll fly into Lisbon. We stay in Lisbon, Lisboa, for 2 nights. We go to Algarve and Évora for 2 nights. And then we also visit Seville to the Costa del Sol. And while we are in the Costa del Sol, like Malaga region, we actually will take an excursion into Gibraltar, which is a day. It's a full day excursion to Gibraltar, and it's already included in our itinerary, where we will actually see um, a population of monkeys that can only be found in Gibraltar itself. Now, Portugal and Spain and Gibraltar. So we're not only just seeing two countries, we'll be seeing three different countries. So Portugal, Gibraltar is English, and we get to see Spain in the same itinerary. So what do you guys think so far? And that's just within the first 6 days of this itinerary. So after Malaga and Costa del Sol, we head for one night into Granada. And the main reason that I have picked this itinerary is because I absolutely love southern Spain. Just the Andalusian region, as well as the Catalonian region, where we hit up Valencia and Barcelona. Up until our trip to Japan, Barcelona has been my most favorite city in the entire world. But once we visited Japan, it was like it's a tie between Osaka and Barcelona for me. So I have gone to Barcelona a total of maybe like 5 or 6 times already, and it just does not get old for me. I absolutely love the city. Its culture and like everything about it is just great for me. It's like it's always different every single time that I see it. So we'll go a little bit deeper here in a couple moments, but this is just the overview of our itinerary for so far. And that totals to about 12 days there and back with everything else in between. But tour dates so far, um, earliest departure date will be July the 3rd, but my requested dates are July 6th to the 17th. So we can leave as early as July the 3rd and return as late as July the 20th. So that'll give you a couple weeks before the actual school year begins for anybody that is still in high school. So to ensure that to help ensure EF can build the best possible experience for us, we need some flexibility when it comes to our travel dates, and that's why we have those 3 days before and after our requested dates. The requested dates are basically just what I would like to travel, but depending on pricing, flights, etc., and whether we can, if we need to be matched with another group, they can match us with another group that leaves as early as July 3rd and return as late as July the 20th. So until the exact dates are finalized, which is usually about 2 to 3 months before our tour, if you enroll on the trip, block off the full date window, July 3rd to the July 20th, until our final dates are given to us by EF. Just the flexibility allows us to maximize our tour itinerary through the best possible flights, hotels, and on-tour logistics. So we also have a chance, again, as I've already said, the chance of maybe possibly traveling with another group or another school from another part of the country to give us another like add on to our cultural experience for us while we are abroad. Okay. So far, so good? Okay. So highlights of our itinerary. So on the day that we arrive, we will be meeting our tour director at the airport in Lisboa, in Lisbon, and during our stay, we'll experience old world atmosphere as you make the way through the winding streets of Lisbon's Alfama district. And it's characterized by the brightly colored buildings that you guys can see here. And also, as you can see, it's near the coast, the Atlantic coast itself. Now, during a photo stop, you'll also enjoy a panoramic view of Lisbon's red tiled roofs, which is characteristic of the Roman architecture. So from there, we travel to Seville. Seville is really beautiful. And if you're anything familiar with Maria Luisa Park, which is here on the right, this park was actually a Star Wars filming location. If you're not familiar with it, if you are watching episode 1 of Star Wars and Princess Amidala goes back to to Alderaan, he, she and Skywalker are walking through. You can actually see them walking through these those hallways. So that is one of the things that like I really love about that because I could say I walk through the palace of Alderaan where Princess Amidala walked because the director had visited the place and that while they were looking for locations, it's like, this is beautiful. So that became Princess Amidala's home. So it's like you actually walk through Maria Luisa Park to admire the mosaics and fountains. So this one actually this is like a moat, or I guess it's kind of like a moat, but it's not really a moat because it's a U-shaped and you've got bridges that cross over it, and there are actually boats that you can rent that you can go from one end of this channel to the other end of the park. And that was actually created as a centerpiece for the 1929 Ibero-American Fair. It's kind of like your like a World's Fair, but like on a, not as for the world itself, but just for like Iberian Peninsula and the American fair itself, like Spanish speaking South American countries, and they can actually go there. So these are just both Seville. And what I really like about it is because it's the influence of Spain as well as as well as the Moorish aspects from Africa coming into Spain, southern Spain itself. So now, apart from Seville, we also get to visit Granada, which is Alhambra, which literally means the Red Palace. And this is it's like the premier example of the Moorish architecture, and it is the crowning jewel of Granada itself. It sits really high on a mountain, and you actually have to walk up to it. And within it, you've got different palaces. You've got the gardens of Generalife. So if you take a look at at like any photos of Granada itself, it's like its own city on top of a mountain itself. So, and the architecture there, Moorish as well as the Catholic. This was basically one of the locations where Queen Queen Isabel and Ferdinand had agreed with Columbus to actually like fund his voyage across the world, and it used to be their summer palaces.
His attack on the United States.
Huh? I'm giving you history lessons here as well. And not only do we go through Alhambra, like the Granada, we visit Valencia, which goes into the Catalonian region of Spain, and we end our trip in Barcelona, where we will actually see La Sagrada Familia, as well as Parque Güell and Casa Batlló and Casa Milà, that are all designed by the architect Gaudí. Okay, Antoni Gaudí, and it's supposed to the the church is supposed to finally finish construction by either this year or next year. So as of right now, it will be the tallest basilica in the entire world because they actually just finished building the center tower, but they're still adding on more to it. So when they are actually finished, it will be the tallest basilica in the entire world. And it has been under construction for over 100 years. So they will finally finish construction on it, hopefully by the time we hit Barcelona in 2028. So I'm kind of excited about that. I was like, that was another one of the crowning things about this planning of this trip in 2028 is because it's like after COVID, I was like, we need to go back. They said it's going to be finished in 25, maybe 26. So we have to go and see it when it's actually completed. And not only the outside of it is beautiful, you have to actually go inside of the basilica itself and see just the ceilings. The ceilings are amazing. The stained glass windows, the way Gaudi had planned it to where the sun comes in on one side and when it goes out on the other side, the lighting and the light coming in through the stained glass windows from the east and the west, completely different. So, what do you guys think?
It's pretty good. Oh,
Yeah, it's pretty good.
I will say I did look it up earlier today. So the exterior is supposed to be finished this year, but it
Mhm.
also said that the interior wouldn't be finished like with all the sculptures and everything until like 2034 or 38.
Right. I just want to see the outside because the inside is already beautiful as it is, but the out, but the first time I went, this portion right here was not even up yet. And that was about 2014. This area right here was not up. None of this was up yet, and none of that was up yet when I went in 2014. So a little bit of this was up when I went in 23. So just seeing all of the outside facade complete is just gonna be like, wow. It's like this is what it actually looks like. And there's actually a park across from it where people take photos like the one that's on this slide. And that's usually one of the photo stops that we have whenever we go to Barcelona. So be ready to take that photo of a completed basilica. So now, what gets you most excited about this travel experience so far? Just looking at the itinerary and just thinking about what have like any of the things that I've seen so far, like I've talked about so far, what are you most excited to see? I mean, apart from food, because everywhere in the southern Spain, you get all kinds of foods, everything from your tapas to your paellas, and of course, since we are along the coast, lots of seafood. Anybody want to share out?
My dad was in the Navy a
Mm-hmm.
long time ago, a very long time ago. And he always told us that Spain was his favorite place in the whole world when he traveled in the Navy. So that's why I want to go.
Okay. I should probably take Eric with me then, huh? If
Yeah,
that is the case.
Eric needs
But
to go.
yeah, like I've like Spain, I mean Spanish teacher, but Spain has been one of my most favorites like countries to visit. Not only because it's just the culture and everything else, but it's just so beautiful and the country as a whole is so varied and diverse. And there's like as I've already said, like the different influences. You've got Celtic influences in one area. You've got French and the Basque region, it's like they have complete languages that were dead during the Franco regime, but are resurging again now that they are modernizing and they're finally saying, okay, we need to bring back our own language and our own culture within this culture. So it's one of those things where each of those different cultures are coming back again in each of the different regions and just seeing the influences from the Arabs in the south to the French in the northeast to the Celts in the northwest, and then you've got Portugal right there sharing the same peninsula with them. So, all right. So we do have a tour director that basically meets us at the airport. They will go with us to every single city. They will eat with us. They will sleep in the same hotels as us. And the last time that we actually see them will be when they put us or see us to TSA at the airport in Barcelona. So they are expertly trained guides who have navigated the local customs, culture, as well as the language. And like a lot of the tour directors that I've ever had on any of my tours, as well as all the training tours that I go as an ambassador for EF, they are all educators in some way, shape, or form, So it's like they know the ins and outs and they know how to interact with students as well. So they have an extensive knowledge of the destinations, the culture, the language. They can go back and tell you all the history because I know some history, but they can give you the locals' point of view from that historic event, etc. They manage everything from hotel check-ins to facilitating our meals to handling all the tickets to all of the different venues and sites that we're going to see. And again, like I said, they're a teacher at heart who will deliver engaging commentary and they facilitate all the hands-on learning. So it's like if we are going to the Basilica of La Sagrada Familia, for example, they will tell us about the different facade and all the different statues, what it would look like inside and on the outside, how long it's been under construction. Like they give us all the details that you can read, but sometimes it's just so much easier to hear about it as well. And again, a lot of them have had so much like experience leading tours all across the country as well as Europe that they can tell you the influences and everything else as well. So tour directors, I don't think I've had a bad tour director ever in all of the tours that I've had with EF. Whether I was leading a group, chaperoning a group, or whether I was on a training tour for newer group leaders as well, every single one that I've had here and in Asia have been like top notch. And they do have extensive like background checks and like educations. They go through trainings just like any group leader would as well. So with itinerary, again, we get a full-time tour director, all the transportation, so that's round trip flights. If we're on a train, train tickets are included. If we have to be on a bus, the bus is on there. If we had to take a ferry, which we won't in this case, that's also already included in our itinerary as well as the price that you'll see later on. There's breakfast and dinner, or maybe lunch, but you do get 2 meals a day, um, along with like regional you've got regional cuisine all throughout. So we could be doing a tapas one day and then paella another day, or we could do something like steak and fish and like all of your sausages and stuff that they have available would be something that you guys can try out while we're there. You have hotels that are included with private bathrooms, and you have sightseeing city tour, like city guides specifically. So if we were going to Lisbon, and we would have our tour director as well as a city guide there, for example, or when we're in Barcelona, we have a city guide there as well as in Seville, as well as in Granada. So we have specific city guides that are much more knowledgeable about those specific cities. And then, of course, your tickets to all of the attractions that are on the itinerary. And then, of course, if you have a student that is interested in receiving academic credit, whether it be high school or college, you have that option as well. And then, of course, you have the experiential learning where you have hands-on activities like making a paella, for example, a cooking class, or there's an excursion that we're making something, or we could be dancing the flamenco, you know. And then, of course, we have traveler support and resources that are available as well, and 24-hour emergency contacts. Now, for you guys, if you don't have a passport already, you'll need to get a passport. You're responsible for that, and any necessary visas. So as of this year, all of Europe, apart like Europe and the UK, have their own entry visas. They're not really visas, but like their their transit permissions to go within the European Union. So that is another thing that you will have to like basically account for, and it's usually about $8 to $12. And we don't have to really worry about that until a couple of weeks before we actually depart for the trip. So we've got some time on that one. And then, of course, any checked baggage fees. So you get, normally on international flights, you get carry-on and one checked bag. So if your bag is over the 50 pounds, usually you will get, that's the fee that you'll have to actually pay for. Okay. But you do get one checked bag with a carry-on and of course your personal items. So you get 3 bags for free. As I tried to, especially on the shorter trips, especially if we are within the same country, I try to keep it to just a carry-on, but that all depends on how you tend to travel, but try to pack as little as possible because you're always going to be coming back with a whole bunch of souvenirs anyways. And then tours, for every tour that EF takes out, there is tips. And for the tips, your tour director, bus drivers, and local guides is what those tips are going to go for, because tourism is very highly, it's a very high tips. It's based on tips and how much they make. Okay. But I believe as of 2027, tips will be included in the price that you're going to see. Okay. They've started including those tips, so that way I don't have to worry about it. You don't have to worry about saving for it anymore, and I don't have to collect it before we actually depart. So it's already you're already gonna be paying for it with the price that you see. Okay. Things that you're going to be responsible for also are snacks and some meals. Remember, you have 2 meals a day, whether it is breakfast and lunch or breakfast and dinner, depending on what it looks like when it comes to travel. Are we moving from one place to another? Typically, though, in those cases, we have a breakfast and lunch, and then when we get to our destination again on that day, we are on our own for dinner, for example, or we will have breakfast at the hotel. We do some excursions, and then we're off on our own to buy our own meals for lunch, and then when we arrive at our destination, we'll have dinner ready for us. And then, of course, rooming upgrades. So if you don't want to room with another person, that's where rooming upgrades come into play. But adults typically room with another adult in a double, while students, they will be matched with 2 to 4 students in a room. Okay. Any questions so far? I've been throwing all kinds of information at you, and I know that I've been talking like nonstop. So, any questions that you have? Ah, ancestors were from Spain and Portugal. I haven't been looking at the chat. So, here we go. Well, in that case, let's see. We'll move on then. And this is the cost of the program. So as of right now, to reserve your spot and this price, all you have to do is pay the $95 plus whatever your insurance that you select. This price already includes a $200 early enrollment discount if you enroll by February 6th. But notice it says here you can cancel for any reason up to 7 days after the enrollment for a full refund. So if you enroll tonight and you calculate all your money and your expenses, etc., and it's like, I can't afford this as I thought, you have 7 days to cancel and get your $95 plus your the insurance cost back. Okay. But if you do enroll, that $95 gets taken off from the total cost, and they will calculate your monthly payments. But as of right now, it's $165 a month for students, and I believe it's about $203 for adults. So it's just a little bit it's just a little bit more, mainly because adults are more expensive when you are traveling and when you're trying to book hotels and any of the attractions as well as transportation. Questions so far? So we dropped the price, and remember, all of that includes all of the things that we've talked about so far. So got a quick video for you. So while you're watching the videos, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat or complete the QR code and
Hi,
try to answer
we're
them.
EF Educational Tours, and your group leader has partnered with us to take your students on this travel experience. It's something we've been doing for decades. In fact, as the world leader in travel-based learning, you could say it's our specialty. We've been traveling the globe with students long enough that we've seen the world, and fashion trends, and picture quality undergo plenty of changes through the years. EF started out way back in 1965. Back then, we were a small company focused on introducing people to the world around them. Fast forward 60 years, and now we've got team members all over the world. But we've always lived by one simple phrase: opening the world through education. And education has always been at the foundation of everything we do. On every EF tour, students see the well-known sights of their destination. We know everyone wants those iconic selfies, but that's only the beginning. There's so much more that goes into each trip. An EF tour is where learning meets life. It's a real-world experience that can't be recreated at home or in the classroom. And we tailor it to be just right for your students. Our team of experts carefully designs every little detail of every single tour. The power of our proven travel-based learning method is that it lets students explore the world firsthand, which leads to more self-discovery, and that empowers them to make a positive impact in the world. It all adds up to 3 key areas of growth: global perspective, personal development, and action and impact. All of our tours are designed with a curriculum of immersive learning. What does that mean? Well, that our itineraries rely on the building blocks of impactful travel, including immersion in new environments, hands-on experiences, and authentic cultural exchange. These elements are core to every EF tour because they help students to see the world around them in a whole new light. That kind of growth happens best when students, families, and teachers feel safe and secure, which is why the safety of our travelers is always the #1 priority. Those EF team members we mentioned earlier, they're located all over the world, on the ground in over 115 countries, and student safety is always on their minds. The best part of having an unmatched worldwide presence is that wherever groups are traveling, there's a friendly face nearby. Plus, our safety and incident response team never takes a day off. This team of safety experts is available 24/7, 365 days a year. If a group needs assistance, they're ready to spring into action and lend a helping hand at a moment's notice. And before takeoff, all adult travelers undergo background checks. We also take group leaders through mandatory safety training so they're fully prepared to take students on the road. The beauty of the world is that it's always changing right before our eyes. But that's also why we build our Peace of Mind program into every single tour, at no cost to you. It lets groups adjust the dates and destinations of their tour if plans need to change. In that case, we'll work closely with your group leader on updating the details of your tour. Seeing the world firsthand is an incredible opportunity, and we know it's a big investment in your students' future. But we believe travel is for everyone, and that everyone benefits from the chance to travel beyond their comfort zone. It's why we strive to keep our tours affordable and offer families a variety of flexible options. Our customizable payment plans give you the flexibility to break payments into smaller amounts and schedule them based on what works best for you. We also provide every traveler with a personalized fundraising page so you can share it with friends and family. It's great for birthdays and holidays. Travelers raise money in all sorts of creative ways, from dog sitting to car washing and everything in between. And every year, our Global Citizen Scholarship gives 100 students $1,000 each for their EF tour on a needs and merit basis. Phew! We've covered a lot already. You can probably tell that a lot goes into an EF tour, and honestly, this is just the tip of the iceberg. We can't get to it all in these few minutes, and that's okay. Do you have questions? Of course, there are always questions, which is great. Our EF Traveler Support Team is here to help travelers and their families at every step of the process. Reach out at any time, and they'll happily walk you through any what-ifs or how-tos. And if you remember one thing from this video, we hope it's this. From tour consultants and EF experience specialists to tour directors and travel operations and all the people in between, everyone at EF is working together to make sure you and your group has an incredible educational tour. That's all from us for now. We hope to see your student on tour soon.
That was a lot of information, and they did talk about a lot
Hi,
of good
we're
things there.
EF Educational Tours,
So-
and your group leader.
I don't know why I have a second one here. So basically, EF leads the way in travel-based learning. There are a ton of other student travel companies out there, but when I ask other group leaders from across the country, they always say, I've traveled with that one, but I've always come back to EF, mainly because not only do they have the 60 plus years of experience and success, they have had the customer service is always there, as well as just the level of support, whether you are here before your tours, while I'm planning, while you are paying for it, but also while we are on tour itself and when we come back if needed. Experts are basically providing experiences that enhance our classroom. And as you guys can see, there are other schools all throughout the county that also travel. We've got group leaders or teachers from Northside High School that travel. Cave Spring Middle and High School are traveling. Most of them are language and science teachers. Glenver High School, as well as North Cross School. I think North Cross is going to Australia this year, is what I was told. Patrick Henry is going to Japan this summer. Hidden Valley and Cave Spring have grouped together. They're also going to Japan this summer. We've got Salem High School and Andrew Lewis Middle School. So we've got a wide range of teachers that are traveling all across the county, as well as all across the schools. So if there's something that you're interested in, and I'll help you find that perfect trip for you. If I'm not traveling there, I can probably find somebody that is going to that location. Now, growth basically lasts a lifetime, unlike other trips. An EF tour is a unique experience where learning meets life. So you actually get to see people. You get there. You get in there with the locals. They design hands-on activities to help you build skills, cross-cultural competence, and future readiness. And that's one of the things that we are striving for when it comes to student tour. Now, I do allow adults to travel on the tour, but itineraries are designed for students. So they tend to be more fast-paced. There's lots of walking tours within the cities when we are about with our city guides. So be prepared for some walking, and of course, being able to see the city itself. Seeing the city from a bus window is totally different from actually walking within the walls of a fortress or a castle, etc. But just think about that. From travel to transcript, again, I did mention that your student can get either high school credit or college credit for a tour. So EF is an accredited institution, so basically they can offer academic credits for courses for a trip that you're attending. Students can earn from the EF Nobel Prize Museum the Global Citizen Certificate and or high school credit, offered completely free. All you would have to do is take a transcript from that EF sends to you and take it to your district and say, here's what my student has done. And it's up to the school to actually like accept that credit or not. So it's up to you to actually talk to Roanoke County or whatever school you are attending to actually get that credit. But you can also get 3 college credits for $550. And this one is actually through Southern New Hampshire University. And it is basically a fraction of that typical tuition. I think $550 at Southern New Hampshire University, a 3 credit course is typically about $1,000 or something like that. It's a little over, just for a 3 credit course is like $1,500. So you're getting it for about a third of what a regular college course is going to be. And then of course you have there are activities before you leave, while you are on tour, and then you have some time after you arrive to complete all of the activities that you want. So in the video, they talked about safety first. Now, this is actually a new map. This one you can actually see all of the different places. There are each one of these is a office in those locations. So they have a 24/7 safety and incidents response team, 365 days a year, and they are trained to react quickly if travelers need help. So all of the Boston people, some inside scoop for you guys. All of those Boston people, they actually take time, like during the busiest travel season of the year, which is usually June and July. They actually go to Zurich and they will man all of those emergency phone calls that are coming through. So if they are in Boston, when the workday ends here on the East Coast, Zurich is waking up. So basically, you have Boston, the East Coast, handling all of those phone calls that are happening from across the world. And when we go to bed and our day ends, Zurich, Europe offices take over and they're responding to all of those requests, issues that are happening while you are on tour, etc. So there's always somebody available for you to talk to. And when you go on an EF Tours website, there's that little chat box that comes up. That is actually a real person that's responding to your questions. Well, it's automated just to see which department to put you through. And once you have answered those questions, they'll reroute you to an actual person. So you're actually talking to a person in that chat boxes. That was one thing that I learned while I was on a training tour. It was like, yeah, it was like I was the person answering all your questions that one day. I was like, oh my God, really? So when we were in Japan and we had an incident where a traveler it was raining and we were going down the stairs. She had slipped on the step. I think she was like on the last 3 steps and she slid those last 3 steps. She ended up going to the ER. Japan, I've never seen such response so quickly. And she was in the ER within an hour. And she was in and out easily. And it was just and it was in the middle of a summer festival with thousands of people in the metro as well as in the city of Osaka of Kyoto. So it was just like just unmatched. But while all that was happening, somebody was communicating with me, somebody was communicating with our tour director, and there was a person communicating with the traveler's mom. So it was like everybody was on deck all within that hour. So I was texting the mom, I was texting our EF consultant, and they were on a phone call with EF while my tour director was on a call with EF as well. So it was just like everybody is all hands on deck 365 days a year because they're always on. Somebody is always traveling with EF all throughout the year. So all of these little place markers, that is 115 different countries, including staff within the ground. So in November, I was actually at EF's global meeting as part of their panel, and I got to see how 115 different countries are represented within the world. So I was talking to people from Japan, from the Zurich offices, Spain. I was like talking to people from Panama. I was just like all at the same time. And they told me all of this. That's why I was like, wow, I was actually talking to a person when I was on that chat. And it says mandatory safety training for teachers and background checks for all adult travelers. So before we leave, if you are an adult and you are traveling with us, you will actually have to submit a background check and just to make sure that everybody is good to go. Again, EF is the best in the industry, and we've talked about the Peace of Mind program as well. That came in very handy for us when we had to go through, when we were going to Germany, Austria, and was Switzerland for the very first time in 2022. And that was when Russia decided to invade Ukraine. So there was that whole debacle. We had parents that were not very that did not feel very safe about traveling so close to that conflict that we actually, instead of going on the eastern portion of Germany, we kept it to the west a little bit further away from the conflict, and we were able to do that with the Peace of Mind program. So if needed, we will adjust our itineraries just so that we can actually go on the trips that we want. How are we doing so far? I'll make it quick because almost 8 o'clock. But getting a helping hand, as the video already said, you get a personalized fundraising page, and every traveler can apply to receive $1,000 off of their EF tour. It's basically submit a 2 to 3 minute video to apply, but there is like caveats to that as well, or an alternative if you are not one of those people that likes to video record and submit. If you're not into that social and video recording, there is an alternate to that as well. That's another thing that I learned when I was in Madrid in November, because I was like, not everybody wants to be on a video. So there has to be another option. And they said, yes, there is an alternate to that. I was like, cool. But there is that option or that opportunity to get $1,000 off on your EF tour, apart from the $200 early enrollment discount that you will receive for enrolling here in the next 7 days. Now, here's something new. For those of you that have already traveled with us already, you're already familiar with the first column, okay? And the second column, or the third column. The new one is this one in the middle. So there are now 3 levels of travel protection or travel insurance to each of those trips. Now, the first one is already included in the price that you guys that I showed you earlier, but the second and the third columns can only be added when you enroll. Okay. So notice the difference. The first one, any reason up to 1 year before the departure, you get a full refund minus the $95. So if a year from now something happens and your circumstances change and you won't be able to go on this trip any longer, you still have a year before departure to cancel for any reason. Okay. And get everything minus your $95. Okay. Well, the second level is an additional $250. Any reason for up to 60 days before departure with a full refund, less your $95 and the cost of the protection plan. So basically, you're not going to get back the 250 plus the 95. But you have up to 60 days before departure. And then the very last one, you have up to 24 hours to cancel before departure for a full refund minus the $95 and the protection plan. Okay. Any questions on the new levels of travel protection? No? Okay. Again, if you guys have any questions, you can call Traveler Support either by phone call or email or chat, or you can send me a message and let me know. I'll try to answer any of the questions that you may have. And if I don't have it, then I'll direct you and get it from our tour consultant from EF directly. Okay. And of course, this is just a testimonial from a parent of a student traveler. She became more mature, which we actually do see. It's just a few days, but it totally changed your perspective when you go out in the world and you're able to talk to new people, you evolve and grow. And I saw that change in her. And we see this every single year, Dion and I, every single trip that we take, we come back and we see totally different students from what we went out with. So I do have a few former travelers on our call. Would any of you like to share out your experiences?
Come on, April, you always join in.
We were just Wendy and I are in the same room. We're in our office. And we were just sitting here looking at each other. She's like, "You go." Um, so yeah, we met Cherry Bell and Dion when our younger son came to us and wanted to go on the 2022 trip, and the experience, just like the parent of this on the previous slide, it just completely changed him. He became more confident in going out and doing things on his own. He just was more mature and just had a different vision of the world in general. And then in 2024, all of us went to Japan with them, and our older son joined us as well that time. And he is on the spectrum. And what we've noticed with we well, from as a result of his trip is he also gained more confidence and was even able this past couple years to go on work trips and check into hotels on his own, and that was something he had never done before. And they it it just to see other cultures and experience the other cultures just gave them opened a whole new world within themselves as well.
Thank you. So this is our last slide. So basically, secure your spot by February 6th to qualify for the discounted price. And of course, the risk-free enrollment. If you decide after 7 days that it's not doable for you, or you can't do it, or you've decided you don't want to do it, you can get your money back after 7 days. The risk-free total, it's a full 100% refund for you guys. So enrollment is open. And if you have any questions, just reach out and let us know. If you've been filling out that QR code all throughout this presentation, my tour consultant will be reading those and responding to the questions that you may have. Okay. If you don't have any questions, we are done for the night. We will be sending out this presentation as well as a recording of the video of the meeting as well. So if there's anything that you need to go back and re-listen to or anything like that, you have the ability to go back and watch the video as well as see the presentation if needed. So